Yeah, the worst. Oh, thank you, sir. Look at that. Unbelievable. Do you pour those yourself? I just want to go, oh, and just blow it everywhere.
Turn this puppy on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you started in the technology.
The first time I went to Westrac, I was a planner and scheduler, basically, in the new machine build. So I started dealer day one when they bought Bucyrus. So I started working in the new machine builds for the big white stuff, effectively. Oh, fuck. You're really testing me here. It was probably 2016, 2017-ish, somewhere there. Maybe a little bit before that. And yeah, so then I started at Westrac. It was a mate of mine who's a good friend. His dad, they're good family friends of ours. He used to work for Skilled people placement stuff. And so he rang up my dad, I think, saying, would Aaron be interested in this job? I need to put someone forward for a contract role. And I turned up at the interview, and the guy I went to school with was the interviewer. He was the manager there. So he said, do you want the job? And I went, yeah, all right, whatever. So why not? Yeah, I guess. Of course, he went through his process. Don't put that on the tape. Yeah, he did the right thing. It's not how it works. Yeah. Nah, so...
What was his name?
Harrison Burton.
Oh, Harrison Burton?
Yes,
yeah.
He's a good mate of mine. Yeah.
Because he was working... Sorry, to interrupt you.
No, go.
He was working for Schier, right?
Yeah, for a long time. He's a good mate of mine. I went to school with him. And then, so I started there in his team, working for him. And so we were basically project managing the build. So old mate Scott Gundry and these guys, the sales team, would go out and sell the dream to a customer. They'd option it up with all these Australian stuff because the machines had come from Mexico and stuff. So you basically have to pull them apart and rebuild them to Australian standards and then send them out the door. So, but when they did that, they'd say, we want fire suppression, we want signage, we want escape ladders, we want blah, blah, all this 60 options of DPOs, they call them, or dealer provided options. So it was our job to make that, quote those, make the magic happen with the boys in the workshop and then get it out the door, sort of thing. So I did that for a few years. Then I got a job at Hitachi selling equipment. So I jumped. The grass is not greener. So I did light construction sales for Hitachi for a bit. There was a guy who worked at Westrac called Dave Barnes, and he went across to Hitachi as like a sales manager. So then he was the one that said, "Oh, why don't you come work over here for me?" sort of thing. I was like, "Oh, fine." Did that for a bit. Then I came back to Westrac, and that's when I was a proper project manager, not just a planner scheduler, but working for technology. I think it was probably about a year and a bit in that kind of role. And then I transferred across to what they call a technology solutions specialist, which basically meant a sales guy, effectively, in technology. So when I was a PM, I had to sell my own projects because no one was selling them. So I'd go to sites and say, oh, you've got Mindstar, you've got this, you've got that, or here's a problem you've got, how do we fix it? And then we'd get them, I'd do some quotes up, give them a commercials, they'd pay for the project, and then we'd go run the project. So, or Mindstar is the big fleet management system that CAT basically used for mining. And then, so yeah, I kind of, project managers started thinning out a bit because they weren't selling structured projects as much anymore. And then so I became a technology solution specialist. So that's where you go out, see a customer. FMG was a big one of mine. So the autonomy kits, so transferring all their trucks from being manned trucks to autonomous trucks. So getting that whole project through CAT, getting the kits landed, checking them all, getting them installed on site.
That's a really good grounding, mate. Not because I was wondering about it, but that's we've done all the stuff, you know, and
yeah.
So it's kind of helping what you're doing now.
Absolutely, yeah.
So one of the things that we were chatting about before, like, you know, technology is changing all the time. Sometimes I find it hard to keep up. How do you keep up with what you told us last week?
Yeah.
I should change today, man. Sorry, you know something different.
Yeah. I don't know, I just try and keep myself surrounded with people who are smarter than me and ask them questions. That's the only way to do it.
That's just not bad advice.
Yeah, just try and be the dumbest person in your friendship group if you can. And just ask them questions. Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time reading as well, jumping on LinkedIn, looking through stuff. Specifically, if you can pick a couple of niches in technology where you want to live, like we are at the moment, very vertical and we're high in the transport logistics space, but only parts of it. There's stuff out there I've never even heard of. But if you try and keep educated in a little vertical that kind of makes sense to what you're doing, and then you have enough interest and appetite to look outside for solutions in other industries that might complement or work together, that's all you can do really. And then you kind of discover the rest by dumb luck. You'll talk to a customer, they'll say, oh, have you seen this? Oh, we've got this. Oh, we're looking at this. And you go, oh, let's have a look. And that's kind of how you learn. Otherwise, you can't consume it all yourself. It's impossible. It's never boring. Always interesting. I wouldn't do it if it was boring. I'm one of those people that and I guess, you know, being a planner and then jumping high touch and then jumping back and then being project manager and then sort of being a sort of salesy guy, and then, you know, like when you jump between things, it's kind of like a new challenge and it's something that's exciting. I've struggled with that when I worked for businesses, because you kind of get bored of it. Like you feel like you've mastered something, not that you do, but you feel like you kind of got a handle on it, and then it just becomes routine. It's a bit boring, but when you do your own thing, you can kind of set different tangents and be like, yeah, that's really cool, but if we just tweaked it like this, it could be really, really cool. And so you can always play in that space, which is kind of exciting. Otherwise, you get bored, I think. I get bored.
No, that's true.
We just really enjoy solving problems. So like we like to go to a company and be like, what's your issue? Cool. How do we fix it? A bit of software, a bit of hardware, a bit of consult, whatever it is. And that's kind of fun. So as long as we're doing that, I think that's the key thing. But the other thing we're doing now is we've got this venture app that we've built. That to itself is probably the first time we've actually gone, right, we have a really good, strong proposition B2B here to go and target end users. Before, we've been really in like a reseller space, like ConnectSource makes a cool device, they resell a cool device, whatever it is. We're then the platform that they would use to sell to their customers to be able to make money off their products.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've got something that end users can really use, and it's like, now I've got a whole different slant on what I'm trying to do, to go and then just upskill myself in all that side of the business as well. It'd be really interesting. So I kind of get how to run a business, how to work with devs to build something, how to get an outcome. But now it's like, right, how do I get, how many companies there are in Australia that have a vehicle for business that could use our solution? How do I talk to all of them? That's a whole new challenge. So it's something different.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, is we've been a change of philosophy and mindset of the you know, what you're doing before now to the end user, rather than the
complete change. Yeah, so we've been very beholden to trying to do things for our resellers, whereas now it's kind of one eye on like, well, how are we going to do things for us as well at the same time? And all the stuff we built is directly applicable, so it's all very good stuff and will help our own product. But now we've got our own products, how do we go and do that? So that's the challenge I'm trying to solve at the moment.
So do you think you're trying to go to the end user yourself, or still have distributors?
We can still have, so what we've kind of gone, for example, with ConnectSource, they've got 400 companies across Australia using our platform. Our little apps, the apps that we've built will be applicable to all of those 400 companies. They're really good at transport and logistics. I don't want to go and try and fight with them for customers, because if they win, we win. So I want to empower them to be really good at that. For me, there's all these other service business, any business that has a vehicle. It could be your RSPCA, it could be Coca-Cola, it could be people that they would never talk to. I want to go try and find those guys and try and hit them up. So I'd definitely love to continue working with reseller partners. They can do that on their strengths and their network. And for them, it's an upsell. They just get extra revenue every month for just doing the same stuff. So it's a win.
So if, free under pressure, if do you have an elevator pitch for this app, like a 15, 20 second?
So basically, it's a suite of solutions for any business that has a vehicle that uses that vehicle for business and personal stuff, or does risky trips. So it does the journey management, does your carpool booking, does your FBT, does your FTC, does your anything you can think of for a vehicle. And it uses world-leading telematics with Geotab to power it.